Hello, everyone. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. It is Friday here in the United States. Where you're at, it might be a different day. We know time zones change. Today, we have Christian Schmidt here with us, who's going to be the technical end of this conversation. The conversation is going to start off kind of on the business side of things, and then we'll go from there. So before we dive into the presentation, let's cover the low-hanging fruit. Let's talk about the fmtraining.tv website. If you want to support the channel, make sure that you come over here to the bundles and purchase one of our bundles. The bundles have lots of great training. If you like the way I present, if you hate Richard, there's some of you who really detest me and dislike me a lot, definitely do not buy the bundle, okay? Because you'll get a whole lot more of me, like 100 hours of Richard. So anyway, yeah, but the good training, we're updating the training. We are actively working on that. So let's talk about the digital document super. So the first 10 minutes here, I'm going to walk us through. This is for beginning and intermediate people. I just want to kind of point that out over here. Today's conversation is really kind of an intermediate conversation. If you're a beginner in FileMaker, you'll learn a lot, but it's really kind of intermediate kind of level, and then maybe senior kind of if you haven't seen this before. So let's talk about this. So I have been working with a customer. I haven't done a lot of development over the last 10 years. I've been mostly doing training, but it's good for me to go back. So a lot of you know about this. Working with a customer who does maintenance on aircraft, right? And so one of the things you always see if you're a FileMaker developer and you're really building a great app that they really love, the customer, whoever is using it, will come to you and they will say something like, "Hey, this is really amazing, Fred, Art, Ken, Labo." They'll say, "That's a really great solution you built. It would really be great if it could," or they'll say, "Can it do?" Insert the things in the quotes. And so what they did, they hit me with this the other day. They said, "We need to take pictures and stick them in the database, or we want to take pictures of the helicopter, right, of the damage in the helicopter." So the other day, a sheriff's department helicopter, I'm not going to say who it was or what it was, flying along had a mechanical failure, and they glided, it's called auto rotation, they glided the helicopter down and landed it in the middle of a giant field that was flooded with 2 feet of mud. The pilot didn't know it was muddy at the time. Looked like a good landing spot. It really was safe. Everyone was safe, but digging the helicopter out of the mud was this big thing. So they get the helicopter back to the shop and they say, "Hey, we need to take pictures of all the internal damage to the engine to document this." And because they're going to want to see this as part of them paying the bill for this work that we're going to do. I said, "Fine, that's great." The customer says things like, "I want to take a picture," or "Can I use this when I'm on vacation?" Right? They'll say these like general, kind of loose, wide open phrases that are leave a lot to interpretation, right? Can we take pictures? And whenever they ask a question like this, as a developer, you need to be able to understand that they just rolled a landmine in front of you for you to step on, and you've got to be careful about how you answer the question. I mean, generally, as a rule, FileMaker will do it, especially if you have monkey bread software to help you get over the humps of where it doesn't maybe do something natively, right? FileMaker has limited native capabilities, pretty great, but it doesn't do everything. And we're going to see that today. So then you need a third-party product that's essential that helps you get over that hump. So one is that they ask you a question, can they do this? Well, I always like to say, yeah, I can do that, but let me ask you some additional questions, right? And so this gets in this iceberg of what they've told you is the tip of the iceberg. For those of you who don't know anything about icebergs, mostly they're underwater. That's why you don't see them. You run into them, you rip a hole in your boat, and you sink to the bottom of the ocean. And then people chase after you with submarines, right? So that's that whole story. So moving forward, the question is you need to ask, they asked me, can I take pictures? The thought process in my head was, yeah, it's FileMaker, could take pictures. And I figured out that they'd take pictures of parts on a helicopter, fine. How many photos would they take? I could see them taking 5, 10, 20, 30 photos. Not a huge number, but more than one or two. And then the other question within my mind was like, how the hell are they going to take these pictures? Because they're running around with these Windows PCs in the maintenance shop where they're at. I built these work carts. In fact, you've seen some of the pictures of that where I take a 24-inch Dell all-in-one computer. I even put a screw through it and bolted it to the cart so they wouldn't knock it off the cart while they're rolling it around. But they really can't take a picture easily with that, right? So if someone says they want to take pictures, you have to ask how many of what and how are you going to collect the photos. So just the thought process here real quick is that Do they have any devices that the organization's purchased? In this case, no. They have no devices that they purchased. Each of the mechanics has their own personal iPhone. And I said, you have Android, and the people here have it's such a classic thing. They're a Windows shop, but they use iPhones, right? How often do you see that? That's a real common thing. So they're not really Apple people. They just, for whatever reason, decided to get an iPhone. So you're like thinking about, well, they have access to, so because they have iPhone, and I really try to stay away from WebDirect because WebDirect couldn't get you here. You can't solve this with WebDirect. People say, I love WebDirect. I love WebDirect. I love WebDirect. And WebDirect's great. Okay. When you use WebDirect, you have to say no to your customers quite a bit. If they were using WebDirect in the shop and that was their entire application, there would not be a seamless, easy way to do this photo stuff with FileMaker. Okay. Not without some hideous programming and some real complexity and cost and investment. So they have iOS device. The other thing I thought of was like, well, I could find a couple older iPads. And so the iPads could be plugged in where their Dell computer is. So it's kind of in the shop and they could use that. Because here's the thing, a small screen on a device that you see right here, there's real estate issues with that. There's usability issues with that. You can't ask someone a bunch of questions on an iPhone. That just sucks. They won't want to use it. They'll hate it. Taking a picture with an iPhone and filling out one or two fields is about all you can hope for. On an iPad, you have more room, but the rub is on some of this mechanical stuff, they're trying to get a photo deck underneath the hood of the engine with the jet engine and a rotor blade and up underneath this cowling. And can you get an iPad in there, right? And so my thought process was iPhone or iPad, who owns it? How do we get it on there? And does it fit, right? That was the first thing. So those are questions that you need to ask yourself. The next question that came up is where, and this was where this conversation is going today, is I said, well, they asked for the photos. They didn't in any way articulate to me what they were going to do with the photos. Well, they're going to go in the database, and will they be appended to a work order? Yeah. Will they be appended to a item on the work order? Yes. How we do that is probably a UI design conversation with Nick, and he would make it too complicated, but it would always be good to get his advice on something like that. But the thing was is that how are you going to give these to your customer? And so this mechanic shop, they do all this work and they basically kick out a work order. They print the work order that they've been working on. That's the only thing they actually really do is print out these work orders. Then the finance department bills against it, right? Makes sense. So they've never had this capability before, but you're thinking to yourself, well, you could have 20 or 30 container fields in FileMaker. And remember, these folks are not super technically advanced people. They're running around with 24-inch CRT monitors on old Windows computers. That's why I put the Dell all-in-ones in there with flat panels with Windows 11 Pro. I put those in there myself. I didn't ask them. I just bought refurbs, built them, put them in there, because I had to take away any rough edges, right? We always talk about these friction spots with projects. How do you have a friction spot, right? You don't have access to the internet. That's why we use MirrorSync, right? You have no easy way of rolling stuff out. So every little friction spot, little sharp edge that you have with a knife, right? Sharp edge. You want to eliminate the sharp edges. Well, this group of people, not super good with computers in general. They use Excel and email and Word, and they browse the internet, and that's about it. So they're pretty limited skill set. So for me to train them, like, well, you're going to take 20 pictures and you're going to stick them in these containers, and then if you want the container to be output, you're going to click on a button on the container, and then we'll kick it out to the desktop and we'll print it or something, right? And if you have 20 photos, then you're going to have to do that 20 times. Or I could script it just to do some of the photos or something, right? And so you see, if I was doing this like Ken Tooley, right, Hot Air Balloon Ken, or any of you folks here, I would probably build it that way because you're technically savvy. You'd go find the photo you want, you'd put it out there. But these people is like, yeah, I don't know. And so the question is like, so the idea was that we want to take all these photos that they have, and we want to take this discrepancy. It looks like a giant long invoice. It's a document with multiple line items on it. We want to stick the photos on the back of that PDF. So they have a PDF. It generates a PDF. I'm just going to arbitrarily glue all the images on the back of the PDF. They and they themselves as customers had not thought this all the way through. I, on the other hand, was kind of thinking about the end result of where these photos go, right? And so I said, well, there's this append from PDF, but that allows you to pin PDFs together. That's a native script in FileMaker, but FileMaker, you can't really stick, well, here's an image and here's a Word file and here's an Excel file and here's another image. And we need to glue all these into a PDF. So I said, hey, Christian Schmidt from Monkey Bread, code blue in the ER, we need your help, right? And so that's how we kind of got this conversation today. So the idea is that you basically need a robust script step in FileMaker called append documents together or append PDF, right? Claris doesn't have that. We need Monkey Bread. So I'm going to, there's Christian Schmidt. Hi, Christian Schmidt. Hello, Christian Schmidt. So you want to share your screen and we can walk through this a little bit with your plugin? Because I knew that Christians would probably do this. In fact, I think it ends up using the DynaPDF. So I sent Christian some sample files. So if you want to zoom in on these a little bit, so what we have on the left, I can't really zoom in. Well, I guess you could open and look at it, but that is a multi-page like invoice with line items kind of idea. Open it up. So you got this multiple pages here, right? And so if they take pictures, they're going to stick them on the end. So then I said, well, here's this picture of a barrier inlet filter after the main transmission on a Bell 206 helicopter, right? And so barrier inlet filter super dirty or whatever it is. Here's another picture of hydraulic servos, blah, blah, blah. It's another digital document, right? And then, yeah, there's the hydraulic servos. Now the next one, yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's with the hydraulic servos. And this one right here is a FAA or EASA form. And this is the United States one, but this is where you have an 8130 for a part. So if you put a part on a helicopter, it has a serial number. It has to have. This is the birth certificate. Most people don't understand how aviation works. Aviation, every part that goes on an aircraft has to have a birth certificate. It tells you when it was birthed, who built it, certified that it was, ready, it was within specifications, and it can be used. And so it's called an 8130-3 document. So this is the birth certificate of a part. So they also said, conveniently enough, hey, Richard, we also have these other documents that we have, and we have a 337. I think this is a 337. 337 is a major repair or alteration of the aircraft, right? So hot air balloon Ken, all that shit that you guys see Nick do with hot air balloon Ken, he has to do all this stuff, right? When Ken says, I want to put a rocket launcher on a hot air balloon and shoot rockets off the balloon, he has to do a 337, right? He has to actually have the rocket launcher with the serial number on the 8130 and then the 337 that he files with the FAA. So the rub is that the customer is going to be, if you can go and close that, all these, you could have 20 or 30 containers in here. At the end of the day, we just needed to have a single print button that would roll it all into a single PDF that they could send to their own finance team or they could send to the customer. And so there's this button here and he just ran it. So if you want to go and open up and kick that out, this is kind of the end product of where we're at with this conversation. We're going to spend the rest of today walking through how this works. And Christian's going to ask, keep going. So there's picture 1, picture 2, 8130, 337, and then on the second page. Now, here's the rub with some of this stuff, right? You could try to hack this together by, I'm going to build a layout and I'm going to put the picture on it. But if you append a picture that fits on one page, that's fine. But if you append another PDF, then you have multiple page PDF that's getting glued on, some 2 or 3 additional pages. So whatever we do has to be smart. It has to be smart, right? So that's where we're at. So Christian, do you want to walk us through your plugin here? And if we have people along the way have questions.
So we are going to use DynaPDF functions.
Stop. What is DynaPDF?
Oh, that's a wonderful C library to do a lot of PDF things.
So the Monkey Bread plugin does some things by itself, but to really do cross-platform, awesome PDF stuff, you need this additional library, which is an additional purchase, DynaPDF. So cool.
So I'm very happy that we can use it because it brings us a lot of PDF functionality. And the first thing, of course, is because it's an external library, you need to actually have the library as a file. So we include it with a plugin. Here for Mac, it's a DynaPDF dialib. And for Windows, we have a DynaPDF DLL, and for Linux, of course. And
Now you have it next to the FileMaker file here.
in this case, yes.
But you could put it next to the plugin in your plugin directory on Pro, right? Could you?
Yes.
That's probably really where it would go, right? I would think, right?
Yeah, well, for giving away the example files, we usually have the example look in the same folder as the example
Got it.
for the file, so it works on people's computer without copying the file. But yes, you can just drop in the library and the folder, and then you even don't need to pass a pass here. It will just look for the file there and automatically. Otherwise, you can pass whatever pass, but you have to at least once load the library on the start of FileMaker, well, first time you need it, and then it stays loaded until FileMaker quits. So we start with we initialize it. So if needed, then we start a new DynaPDF environment, which is a place in memory where we can load a working PDF from an import PDF and later output it. You can have several DynaPDF objects in memory, so you can have several scripts do this in parallel if you need.
So the DynaPDF and the Monkey Bread plugin could be installed on the server. In my case, I would do it at the client level, but you could do it on the server. Okay.
Yeah, server, client. We even have a version for iOS of the DynaPDF library. So because we have here 6 containers without a portal, without a separate table, we have to loop over them, and we build the field name dynamically based on the table name and the field, so we can loop over the 6 containers as if there would be a portal.
Okay.
So we get the value from the container. So we have the name, we get the value, which actually gives us what's in the container. Then we get the text of the container and the types. And the types is an interesting thing. We can just go to the data viewer. This is something more advanced in FileMaker, because normally FileMaker users don't mess up with stuff in a container. But we like to know what's in the container. So container 1 has a PDF. So we have here the PDF data. We have a PNG preview. The preview picture has a size information, and a file name is also there.
So back up. So the actual file that's in there has all 5 of those elements, is what you're saying.
So there's 5 data blocks are in this container.
Yeah, 5 data blocks, 5 components.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So main is telling us whether the PDF or the PNG is actually the main part, but in this case, it's the PDF.
Okay.
We have a preview. The preview can be a JPEG or a PNG. Depends on which FileMaker version and how you imported it. It doesn't matter usually. If there is a size, it's previewed in the container. If the size is missing, you don't see the preview. Next thing would be the picture. So we look at container 2, and we see this actually has a file name, a size, JPEG as a type, but it isn't a JPEG.
Wait. He says a JPEG, but it's not a JPEG? Is that what
this is a JPEG, but this is a HEIC image.
HEIC or whatever you call that.
Yeah.
That's a new format. Right?
Yeah, so let me just drop it here on the. So you see here, info window, you see it's not a JPEG, it's a HEIC here. And you can see all the metadata here if you need. So this is made with an iPhone, I assume. Yeah, here, iPhone 12.
Yeah, that's my iPhone. Yeah, I did take that picture. Okay.
Okay, so it's marked as a JPEG for FileMaker, but it isn't. Okay, then let's see. Container 4 has just a PNG with a size, and container 5 is a PDF again.
Okay.
So because we want to merge them all, we have to do a little bit special coding for different types. So a PDF, we can just load the PDF, append it. For the pictures, we have to make a new PDF page and place the picture.
Okay.
So the next step here is to try and see if the types list contains PDF, or this could be a PDF imported as a file. Then you would just see the icon there. but then the file name would maybe still say PDF, so we think we handle it as a PDF.
Okay, say that again. Say that again. A PDF could be.
So let's just remove here container 5 and we import it as a file.
Yes.
So we take your, what is 337, and
Yeah.
then this is a file container.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And if I again look with container get types, oops, typing too quickly. Container 5, you see this is file data and a file name.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, because this is the way, because so those of you, I mean, everyone here, the people who have been around the block understand that if you insert, you get one action. If you drag and drop, you get a different action in the container, right? For the same, yeah. So this is why there's that demo from it's the folks in Australia, Team DF or whatever they call the Digital Fusion folks, Team DF there, and they had a making containers that are not interactive, like without the thumbnail, turning them into interactive so you can get the thumbnail. And the idea is to base 64 them out and then bring them back, right? Kind of a hack, but so you could have a PDF in a container that FileMaker doesn't know. So that's why you wrote that statement in either case. Okay.
Yeah. We actually have plugin functions for WinPDF, PDFKit, and DynaPDF to get you the preview edit if you need.
Oh, okay.
So there's a generate preview function in the plugin. So when it is a PDF, we tell DynaPDF to open this PDF from the container. You can also load a PDF from a file, and this will just open it. Then when it's open, you can ask all the questions about the PDF, like how many pages, what's the title, the author, the subject, what is some other metadata about it.
Okay, so real quick, so Stu asked a good question, right? So Stu, real quick on that. So the idea is that the insert, can you just go to create a new script here real quick? Because we're trying to understand why your monkey bread's okay. Just put save records as PDF with the append PDF option in here, right? So, so that the append PDF option, you can go look this up, but essentially, it's the idea is to glue additional PDFs on it. In this use case, I knew that the customer could stick almost anything in these containers in terms of the aircraft maintenance. Mostly they are asking for photos, but knowing what I know about them, that'll be the other things they might want to stick in there. And I haven't, asked Christian about that, but I mean, theoretically Word or Excel, God knows whatever else, but the append to PDF doesn't have the ability to directly grab an image and glue it on, I don't believe, right? That's the rub, right? So
this option can only save existing records from FileMaker to an existing PDF file. So you can't just add a PDF file. And for the images, you would have a layout.
Yeah, you'd have to take an image and make a giant container on the layout, then output it as a PDF, then try to reappend it. And if I thought that the customer would only do that, then I was okay with that. But the rub is that they have other PDFs from other sources, right? Remember those government forms, things like that. And so we needed a more flexible solution, right? If that makes any sense.
So we opened a PDF in memory from a container. Then we ask the plugin, did we have any error? Because there could be something could be broken, like PDF file could have a broken directory of pages. It could have a password, which we don't have here. So this could be an error like password missing. Then we check, I check again here, this is duplicate maybe, because we check if we have pages in the new PDF. Should always be true. Then for the import command, we need to specify where in our new PDF to add the new pages. So you could say, put the pages on the front, in the middle, on the end. And in this case, we just ask how many pages do we have already? Add one, and then place the new pages there. And with import PDF file command, we import all the pages from the open document. We could also use import PDF page function to just pick individual pages if you need to.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to line 23 real quick, Christian. I guess it's line 23. Yeah. So right here. So this is back to in the world of FileMaker. This is kind of an unusual thing. In a world of programming, this is more of a common item. So the idea of opening something up, open it up. And so in the world of FileMaker, you can open a file or close a file, and that's really basic. But you can actually, in this case, we're opening up the document into memory in Monkey Bread, right? We're opening it up. The only other time you see open, I think, in FileMaker is when you're writing text files with the write data files. Most of the time, and the only reason I knew how to do that was because I learned how to do that in BASIC when I was in 6th grade, right? Basic programming back in 6th grade. I knew with the stupid Commodore 64, I could open files, write to the files, then close the files, all part of that, right? So you open it. Go ahead.
So when we ask here FileMaker to get us the container field value, FileMaker will just provide just read the directory of the container and give us an object where we have these types and their sizes. Maybe it also downloads the file name. And then when we ask here, when we say open, the plugin will actually ask FileMaker for the PDF data. So then FileMaker will transfer this data from the server to the client, give it to the plugin. The plugin will keep this data and will read the directory from the PDF. So this is basically only slow if you transfer a big PDF. But otherwise, we just do as little as possible, just reading the directory of the PDF. And here in the import command, we actually read the pages from this PDF. And because this is a loop, and this can just open a new PDF, import some pages, open a new PDF, import some pages. You can repeat this to just append as many PDF documents as you want.
Hang on. There's a question from Andy here. Does this process happen in a separate thread, or will you have to wait until the process is finished?
This is a normal FileMaker script which sequentially executes all the script steps. So you wait.
Yeah, so it might be one thread or two threads, but it's going to be synchronous.
On the server, you can run several scripts in parallel, which run on different threads, different CPU cores. So you can do this in parallel for a lot of documents if you need to.
Yeah. So if you have like a lot of content going, then this would be a thing that you'd want. In my case, the customer is going to put 8 or 10 pictures on there, and they press a button, and so they kind of expect it's building this report, this final report right there. And so
I just run it and count how long it takes. 1, 2.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. It's running locally.
2 seconds. 2 seconds is short enough that you don't need a progress bar. People are usually not that quick with looking or moving the mouse. So.
Well, part of it is that they press a button to make it happen, and so there's some expectation that things are happening, and they're causing it to happen. If it just suddenly stutters and slows down, and they haven't pressed the button, then that's where people get more excited, right? So, I mean, this is all obvious. A lot of you already know this. Andy already knows this. So, yeah. So, it's a matter of managing customer expectations, right? So.
Now, after we handled the PDF case, we come back to the image case. And here we have the specialty that the container may contain a high image type, which is the default type for an iPhone, unless you change some setting in the photo application. So this is Apple's high compression image format. And because DynaPDF doesn't understand it.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, basically this image format is compressing your picture with the standard used for MPEG-4, and this requires you to pay some fees.
Okay.
So
you're converting it yourself. You're converting it yourself.
Yeah, we use a function in the plugin to convert it, and this function uses the functionality provided by Apple on Mac and on Windows by Microsoft to transcode the image format.
Okay. So this can run. So if this customer has iPhones, but they're using Windows computers, right? And so this would work on theirs because Windows would be able to read the HEIC, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't done.
Otherwise, you could, of course, use a command line utility to convert it or whatever you like. But I just got this function here for me.
Can I ask a dumb question? What's the difference
Yeah.
between HEIC and HEIF, as in Foxtrot, that where he says you do either?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the one is a file format and the other is a container. Because such a picture can actually contain several pictures. As you may have seen for the desktop picture backgrounds, we changed the picture based on the time. So there's actually a picture with 24 pictures inside, one for every hour.
Really? I did not know that.
And also on such a container can contain a movie, basically.
Okay. The top cat has a question. Does DynaPDF read raw photos? Raw format?
No, actually not. But for this, just use the same function.
Oh, so you could read raw with your own monkey bread? Okay.
No, the thing is, for RAW, you have different camera types having different version of RAW. So you need some more universal library to handle all the different cameras. And since Apple and Microsoft provide such tools with the operation system nowadays, we can just ask them to transcode the picture for us. You can try this function for your pictures. But otherwise, we don't expect people to take raw pictures with FileMaker Go.
That's true.
So the next thing is we ask DynaPDF to read the image format from the container.
Okay.
So DynaPDF either can read the image file or not. If we got back the format information, this function will return us a list of values, including the image width, the image height, and what else? Let's just jump to the documentation.
Read image.
I should improve. Yeah, I should improve the documentation. Yeah, text width, height, and bits per pixel.
Okay.
So I don't need bits per pixel here. I just need the width and the height.
Okay.
We want to scale the images because these images are huge, something like 4,000 pixel wide, which printed would be like 5 pieces of paper next to each other. 5 pages wide. So in this case, I use the size here for DIN 4, but you could use whatever size you want, and we scale it down to the size proportionally. So we do a little bit math here to calculate the scale factor. So page height to the image height and to the image width. Then we ask DynaPDF, if possible, to not recompress a picture. This is for JPEGs, which can be passed through. So the JPEG will be read from the container and put directly in the PDF without recompression. Because compressing the PDF would lower the quality. So we calculate where we want to place the picture on the new page. So here you could decide to add a little white border if you like. And then you would just change here the X and Y, X and Y offsets, and also change the width and height of the picture. Could be different from the page size. So we append a new page, we set the width and the height, and then we insert our image on this page from the container with the given rectangle, and then we close the page.
Okay, go back to the compression part. So, in fact, just roll up. So we open the file up, then we import. We go. So
we read the image.
Yeah, go back to the top. So let's talk. I just want to go. So we start with the open. So we open the.
No, this is for the PDF, and here we start with reading the file format for the image.
For the image, okay.
Yeah.
So then you do some stuff. Okay. Okay, and then then you save new image format. So what is this? No recompress if possible. So is that what the 0 is on the end? I missed that.
Yeah, that's a Boolean.
Okay.
Usually you can ask DynaPDF to recompress it, but in this case, we like to avoid that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you compress and compress and compress,
Yeah.
you make a mess out of your stuff. So yeah.
So there are a couple of more options you could set, but basically we want to know the width and the height. So it doesn't become a poster, but more like a normal page. And usually your printer will scale this to your actual paper size.
Hmm.
But we need to have some size, how it should look in the, like when I export it, where is it? That's my exported one here. So basically, here you see the thumbnail size relative to the PDF size here. And if we wouldn't scale it down for the viewing size, it would look very differently because this page would be much smaller relative to the picture page.
Hmm.
So, okay, we put the picture. We could add some text if you like. We could add a border, whatever.
Okay.
And then we loop over all the containers. On the end, you can close the import file. This is optionally. And then for debugging, if you want to actually look into the PDF document, you can turn off the compression for the PDF file. And then you can actually read a little bit of the text inside.
Hmm. Yeah,
Let's
because
just do it.
uncompressed, it's what some of it's XML, right? Just XML.
Yeah, just let me export here a second version. And now I can just drop both on an editor. And so left is the compressed version,
Okay.
where you can read absolute nothing.
Nothing.
So on the left side, it looks a little bit better because you can scroll down and you find things like here, some
Yeah.
license agreement from a font, which is included. And you will also find here drawing commands for the PDF pages.
Mm.
So this is actually the drawing commands. And now if you could learn this language and basically read it. So you find the actually text on the pages if there is really printed text.
There should be some text in there somewhere. Yeah.
Like here, manufacturing, inspection,
Yeah.
authorization.
Yep. Repair. Yep. There's real stuff there. Okay.
Okay, so there are always here some coordinates to transform to the position and then output the text there. Sometimes you may find some command to draw a line here, some drawing of things. Move, draw a line, move, draw a line. Drawing commands. So this can be useful to find errors, identify problems, and the size difference is so there's 2.7 megabytes and there's 2.2. So the next thing we could do is to modify this a little bit. Like we could have a little border here.
Cut the aviation people are going to want to be able to specify a number or ID or something on the image, right? So it like 5312 or some number on top of the image, so each image would be attached to a line item over on the original PDF, right? Like, oh, here's a picture of this issue. So container one outlines these issues. Here's a picture of item number 3 or 4 or something.
So let me add a text field, label 2, yes. Label 3.
Yep.
First picture.
Yeah.
Second picture.
Mark Johnson,
whatever.
Questions, make sure you let us know.
So now we need some space where we can. So we make the page high a little bit higher, let's say 50. Just extend the space. Huh? So let's say we need a font. Yeah, that's dialog. So set font $PDF. We need a font like Helvetica.
Yep.
Style just normal, no flags for bold or italic or whatever. Size maybe 20.
Sure.
And yeah, the rest is optional.
Okay.
So next thing would be we could need to write something. So white, we have here formatted text. So $PDF position would be, we stretch a text box on top of the PDF. So the actually X position is just 0, and the width will be the whole page size. The epsilon is where we start on the page. Now, by default, PDF has a bottom-up coordinate system. So the 0 point is on the bottom of the page.
Okay.
The high on the page where we start is the high of our picture.
Okay.
And so the text box should be 50 points high because that's the room I just made.
Okay.
The alignment
Left, I guess.
Center also.
Okay.
I think we can just white text. Yeah, we can white text, center, and then there is something like hello world.
Okay, sure.
And let's run the script and see what happens. Well, there's a new picture. So, and now we see if I just got it right or not.
Okay.
You see what happened?
Yeah. So it needs to be up in the white, right? So what do we need to do?
So high plus 50. So we start higher and then it goes down.
Right.
So, of course, you could take the text from the actually. Did I run it?
Try it
again.
There it goes.
So that is 4 and so we have a text hello world.
Nice. Yeah, so we'd have to mess with that. Well, no, wait, did it stick them on all of them or it stuck them on the two?
This is just the pictures.
The two pictures. Okay. Yeah. Cool. I like that. Yeah, because if you're going to print it, it would go off the page. You'd have to lower it down a little bit. But yeah. Now, when you said the image 50 down, did it cut? Is it trimming the bottom of the photo off, or did it scale it down? What is it?
No. We just added 50 more points to the page size.
Yeah.
So the picture stays the same. I just increase the size of the paper. And of course, as I said, your printer will scale this rectangle of the page to whatever paper you have.
Okay.
So
I know the drivers for the Mac do that. Okay, so when you and I haven't played with the insert from device in a while. When you get a picture, like a camera insert from camera device on Go, you could specify a number of things like various levels of quality, but do you have the ability to specify? Yeah, do that insert. No, it's not that. It's insert from device. Insert from. There we go. Go to camera. Can you specify? Yeah, you get the field, whatever. Camera. Is there anything? Okay. Yeah, you can't specify the. Okay, we're gonna have to test
the file type, yeah. But I think there was a setting somewhere in the system to tell the photo application what is the preferred file type.
Yeah, I think you can take. Yeah, you said on the whole iPhone, the entire phone, I think you set it to not use HEIC. So I'd probably have to go to the customer's phones and tweak that. Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen that setting in a long time, but that setting was on the iOS somewhere in preferences somewhere. Okay.
Now, I just copy this little script for you so we can add page numbers.
Oh.
This is from one of my examples. It's a merge PDF example. It has a few extra things
I think
here.
Page numbers would be great. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be a requested.
Yeah. And then you just call here on the end perform script. So after you made your PDF, and you can just here call a script to add page numbers.
Yeah, but you've already closed it on line 83. You closed it, so you want to leave it open.
This is closing the import file.
Import. Okay. Oh, I see.
This is closing this one.
Oh,
our plugin is clever enough. It will close it anyway. So
okay.
I just have it here for completeness. So let's just run it and make another. Adding page numbers takes about no time. The time we need is for converting the hike images. So there's my merged one there. So here 1 of 13, 2 of 13. So on all the pages, it's not very visible on the images.
Oh shoot, yeah.
But we could add white background there, I mean, if you want.
Well, or you could put it up at the top, right? You could try to move it to the top in that space we have up at the top.
Sure, no problem. We go here to the script. So this script actually changes, the page coordinates to top down, which makes the calculation a little bit easier.
Okay.
So when I calculate here where to put the text box, I say here page height -50, which now I don't need, because if we switch the coordinate system, it's just on the top, 0.
Yeah.
0 is now the top.
Okay.
So
try it again. Then there is a question there from Andy. We'll get to that once we validate this is working.
And now it's here on the top.
Oh, yeah. No shit. I like that. Yeah, that solves a lot of problems. This is some really valuable little sample file here. I mean, for me, I want to build this as fast as possible. And as much as I like Christian Schmidt, and I don't mind paying him money, the less time I have to sit here to beat my head against the wall, the happier I am. Andy says a question. Can you use PDFs from websites and combine them with container PDFs?
Well, the answer is you first download the PDF file.
So you have to have the file locally somehow. Okay.
Yeah, we need to get it in memory, so either a file or a container.
Because I think he's playing with an S3 bucket and with PDFs that are up on an S3 bucket. So you'd want to use your API to download them.
Yeah. So either container or file.
Amazon API to bring them down.
So we have an example to download from S3 into a container. And
you've got that too, of course. Of course.
Yeah, and technically you don't need the container field in this. You can just download it with a plugin into a variable and then use the variable as the input for DynaPDF.
Ooh.
Because this says container, but you can pass a container value, and this can be the field name or the variable. Like here, just pass dollar, whatever.
Oh, shoot. Ken has a joke. It's function number 7,237. How many functions do you currently have in
this? Is a very early thing. This is from version 3, which is about 10 years ago.
Okay.
So statistics here, 7,136.
Yes. We're not quite to 7,200 yet. This is crazy. Crazy, Christian Schmidt. All right. Well, I feel like today's was valuable. Hopefully some of you felt that there's value in this live stream for you. If you want to know more about Christian Schmidt and Monkey Bread Software, go to Monkey Bread, was it monkeybreadsoftware.com, and then you can hit that, and then on the left side there's a buy button. And so the plugin's actually not that expensive. The DynaPDF's a little bit more money, but DynaPDF is not Christian's product, right? It's a third-party library, right? So yeah. An extra license. Because here's the rub. I'm like, anytime you can save the money, I'm always for saving the money. You could do some of this with Monkey Bread without DynaPDF, but you really couldn't ensure cross-platform happiness. And so I'm a Mac guy, but these customers in the hangar and their shop are Windows people with iPhones, which is crazy, right? So anyway.
So
right, cool.
And, yeah, a ton of functions and almost cross-platform.
Almost fully cross. Wow, 97%.
Yeah, there are a few Windows-specific ones, a few Mac-specific ones, and we have, let's see, there's a total 600 functions here, just for PDF things. Just for
DynaPDF with DynaPDF.
Yeah.
High value stuff for those of you who have situations with your customers, right? And you're not sure how to solve the problem and you want to submit it to us. I know maybe you have a fuse and a schedule you have to get to, a short fuse, but if you want us to like ask Christian and drag him on the show, now if it's how to like some obscure thing, how do I calculate the density of ice in Antarctica? 5 penguins are sitting on top of the ice. That's off in the weeds, but anything that's like this is fair game as far as I'm concerned. Definitely shoot me an email. Shoot us an email at RCC here, fmtrain.tv. Support at rcconsulting.com with your suggestions. We always like this, right? Because this one came from something I ran into. And I was like, man, this is going to be a pretty horizontal request. A lot of customers want PDF, aggregation, manipulation, tagging a string of text or something on the PDF. Right, that way the customer, because most customers take a picture of something under the hood of a car or an aircraft or something. They have no idea what they're looking at. So, in fact, that was the thing. I asked them, what do you want to do with these pictures? Oh, it'd be really great. And then they come back to me later. Well, we really want to label it so the customer knows what they're looking at, because their customers don't know what they're looking at. I'm like, yep, there we go. So it does it all. Christian Schmidt, good night. Good job. Good
night.
job. Excellent.